I'd like to welcome you all to another edition of In the Bleachers. As we tape this, it's the 18th of September, and today's show is called The Return of Gronk. I'd like to touch base on that a little, but first let's introduce the coach, Coach Wallace,
Merrimack.
who's getting ready for Merrimack Rocks in a
Merrimack
couple
Rocks,
of weeks.
man. I'm getting pumped.
Ready to rock out.
Absolutely.
Looking good.
Absolutely, thank you.
And Rich Flera, straight from ESPN New Hampshire, who is actually the host of the main sponsor.
Primary sponsor of Merrimack Rocks.
Any way we can contribute.
We appreciate it, gentlemen. Well, guys, first, before we get rolling, I want to talk about the title, because we're not vanilla. We're not fence sitters over here. As we speak on the 18th, maybe Gronk will play, maybe he won't, maybe he will. Well, the bottom line is the coach was out for dinner at Ken's Steakhouse in Framingham last night, and who should he bump into? Coach, I'll let you take it from there.
Coach Bill Belichick. Coach Bill Belichick. And I happened to overhear him, talking, his girlfriend was there and some other people. And I heard him say that we're going to be throwing a lot to the Gronk on Sunday. So I'm thinking that must mean that he's going to play. Now, call it insider information, call it hearsay, but we're going to call it the way we heard it.
Coach, anytime you've ever predicted, you've been right on, buddy.
I don't know about that, but I think we'll see him. I think based upon what we overheard, I think you might see Gronk.
Bottom line, who else was he talking about if he wasn't talking about Gronkowski? What, did he trade for his brother?
No, that's right. There are a few Gronks.
Yeah, there are.
He was drinking a Navy grog too. Maybe it was grog. I don't know. I heard Gronk. We're gonna go with it.
That's the name of our show.
We're scooping everyone, by the way.
We're scooping everybody.
Just a scoop.
Because you like to eat at Ken's Steakhouse in Framingham.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ken's is okay.
Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, and remember, no one else there isn't one other news organization except us that's going on the record as guaranteeing it.
Now we're a news organization. Fantastic.
We became a news organization the day that he got passes.
Absolutely. We got some credibility here. Absolutely. Yeah.
The day he got past his press passes, we became a news organization. All right, guys. We're 2-0. Hasn't been pretty, but that's all right. You don't lose points for being ugly. Rich, let's talk a little bit about last week.
Well, like the Hall of Fame coach Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. And we're 2-0, albeit ugly like you said. There's obviously a lot of things that we need to fix. There's obviously some decent things. The one alarming thing to me is the running game. I thought that was going to be a strong suit. I thought we would have definitely emphasized that last week, and we just couldn't get anything going. I think that the Jets' defensive front is better than people think. I think they built themselves a nice young front with Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson, and their best player, Quentin Coples, isn't even playing yet. But with that said, it's alarming to me that we can't get anything established on the ground.
Okay, Coach?
Yeah, no, it was disappointing to say the least. 2-0 in the division, I'll take it gladly, but man, well, again, divisional matchups. You saw a couple play out in week 2. I mean, who knew that Tennessee and Houston would just become would go that close? I thought Houston would have smoked them, and it seems like the divisional games just stay close for whatever reason, especially early in the year. I don't think there's a lot of separation and conditioning. They all seem to do pretty well, and hopefully that's where we eked a couple of wins on, is based upon the great condition we're in. And maybe the depth, and we see these receivers over time, they stick with them and they become an offensive threat. They certainly weren't in the first 2 weeks.
No.
The bottom line is, to me, it comes down to a few words. They are right now the sync team right now, and they have so much talent. Sometimes you can have enough talent that you can beat the tomato cans like the Jets. And make no mistake, the Jets aren't contenders. They're a 6-10 team. They should be 0-2 instead of 1-1. But they had so much talent, but they were a team that didn't know if they were coming or going. But I have faith in Bill. We trust. Okay, guys, we're going to come back to the Patriots a little bit later, but let's start off with as far as teams in the NFL. You guys want to give me your biggest positive surprise for teams?
Well, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I picked them at the end of the season to go to make a wild card. So I guess from that perspective, it's not that big of a surprise to me. But 2-0, look, Andy Reid has them clicking on all cylinders. And here's a stat that's kind of shocking to me when I saw it. Alex Smith is the second highest winning percentage quarterback since 2010, ahead of Tom Brady, only behind Peyton Manning. Alex Smith is number 2. I would have lost a lot of money on that if I had the wage.
When he was at, they tossed him out with a winning record. So.
Mm-hmm. So I would have to say the Chiefs. Their defense is very, very good. So I'm pretty surprised with the Chiefs.
Coach?
Yeah, great call on KC. If not KC, I'd say Philly. I mean, who saw Philly coming out of the block with anything? You know, they're not. What are they? 1-1?
They're 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
But you know, I still think just the fact that they blew out their first game, and really they were lucky to. I think come up with an offensive plan that just let Vic really be Vic, and the pace of it. You know, even when they really should have killed clock, he was still committing to that offensive scheme. So, it shows me he's in it for the long haul. And I love seeing a college coach come into the NFL and completely change the way people are game planning. I don't think a coach has done that in a long time. I can't even think of a college coach who's going to change the way. I mean, everyone's talking about that.
Kind of reinvent
Eagles,
the wheel, so to
Eagles,
speak.
Ducks kind of, speed and proficiency of the game. So, what do you think is the surprise team so far?
This hurts me to say,
Yep.
Coach, if you make me get off the TV show and banish me after saying this, I would be okay with it. And please don't tell the Murphy
one
brothers.
else would be.
Don't tell the Murphy brothers I said this. The fact of the matter is, even though I expected the Broncos to be good, they're reminding me of the 2007 Patriots. I mean, I just think the first two games, they have just been powerhouses. And they look like steamrollers. That's all I knew they'd be good.
So as a surprise that you're saying
They're better than I thought they would be.
Okay.
Better than I thought they'd be.
They did just lose their All-Pro left tackle, though, so they got to find someone new to
Let's
protect
hope.
Manning's blind side.
Too.
And one other surprise team, this kills me to say, I know this is going to hurt you near and dear, but the Finns.
Fish. Yeah,
the
I
Fish
know.
are
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I can't
2-0, but not just 2-0. 2-0 on the road. They haven't even had a home game yet. They went into Indy, won that game, and then destroyed the Browns week 1. The Finns, I think the Finns are for real.
Well, Vegas certainly thinks that, giving up 3.5, I think, having pretty hot Atlanta team come into town. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
All I know is that supposedly there's a major issue going on with the HGH, and from what I understand, in the next couple of days, there could be half the team could be gone from the Dolphins. So.
Another scoop.
Shula.
Put in the Bleachers.
We'll see how that
Overheard
goes.
that probably.
Well, during my
shortwave
own drug testing.
Oh, okay. Bumped into him, did you?
Yeah.
Shula's put it in his steaks at his steakhouse, and all the players go and eat it.
Now my wife, we're going to Disney in Orlando. My wife made reservations for Shula's Steakhouse.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm going to take care of it.
Don't mention my name in that place. I'm not invited back. I have a couple of signs from that place. I didn't like anyway, it's another story.
Have you ever gone anywhere where you don't come out with a free souvenir?
Coach, I mean, Dave, I don't try to be a bad person.
Your mother loves you.
She does. She tells
that's
me
rock
that
and
every
roll,
time I talk
right?
to her. It's just all about rock and roll, people.
There you go. All right.
Go with that.
Now we had that one we didn't enjoy doing. But let's do one we enjoy doing. The biggest negative surprise. Coach?
Yeah, I think it has to be Jacksonville, right? I mean, they are just so pitiful. And for them to be so bad after week 2, to have these rallies breaking out that they want Tebow to come in and save them, I think that's a pretty pathetic sign. And I'd have to say it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I'm going to go with the Giants. Giants are 0-2. They haven't
0-2.
looked good in the first 2 games. A lot of turnovers by Eli. And if they don't get this one in Carolina, next week they have a really tough road test. So they could be 0-4 if they don't steal this one on the road. In Carolina.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
So I think the Giants are a pretty big surprise. I mean, Jacksonville's bad, but I think we expected them to be kind of bad. Not this bad, but I didn't see the Giants being this bad.
A follow-up question, if I might. I mean, your show, I don't want to,
Well, no, I'm just waiting to give my disappointment, but if you want to hop
One
in,
follow-up
you
to
go.
him, though. If they go 0-4, do we still worry about them beating us in the Super Bowl?
I'm worried about them till they get eliminated. So
All right. I'm sorry.
because they usually traditionally start slow anyway.
Right. So.
I agree. Well, until they're mathematically available, they have to be looked at. I'm surprised neither one of you two mentioned this, although you both had your own good picks. I think the Redskins.
Mm-hmm. Same division.
Yeah, I know he was injured and all that, but still, now you're hearing, everyone always wants to find a reason. There's no such thing as just being you're lousy.
No.
Now it's the brace.
It's the
brace
brace.
is
It was
too much for
Shanahan.
him.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot. I mean, Shanahan has his fair share, I think, in that, by the way. But
Yeah, but the bottom line is I think them. But again, there seems to be plenty of underachievers, and what's nice? I can't say the Jets because I expect them to be bad, and they are bad. I'm not giving them any credit for that fluke victory.
The Steelers are another team. They've never been 0-2 under head coach Mike Tomlin ever, and now they're 0-2. Staring 0-3 in the face because now they play the Bears.
the Bears next week.
And they all kidding aside with them, they've had other years where they didn't stock great. I mean, not 0-2, but they didn't start great. But you knew they were the real Steelers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they don't
are.
look. They don't look good.
No.
They look befuddled. They look lost. They look frustrated.
Yep.
They do not look good.
Okay, guys. As overall, we tend to be homers. Yes, I said homers.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But I think if we're going to be credible journalists,
Again, keyword being if.
I think we got to touch base on Brady looking like a whiny 12-year-old during part of that game last Thursday. It seems like he's been talked to or he's taking care of it, and now he's saying the right things. But come on. Don't forget, that's what him and Bill O'Brien had the big words about a few years ago when he was going after a rookie wide receiver, and come to find out, it was Brady that went left instead of right. So all I'm saying is, Tom, we need your leadership, man. We know you're the best. You just can't be out there. He's showing your guys up, and that's what you're doing. You reminded me of John Lackey. I'm thinking it's a one-time deal. I think he got it out of his system. But Coach?
Yeah, it was very I'm mixed emotions on this, because seeing him pissed off behind the podium after a win, I had no problem with that part of it. Now the emotion on the sideline and stuff, and I guess him
I'm
not
talking about
being
the antics
approachable.
during the game.
Yeah, to the wide receivers like walking right by them and not talking to them, whatever. I don't know. They get paid a lot of money for that stuff, and it's hard for me to feel bad for the wide receivers. But also, it might be a little tough love on Brady, because the next day he was all apologetic.
I mean, I'm willing to give him a mulligan, but I'm just saying I'm not going to avoid it. It was there for the world to see.
So you can either say he's the most competitive guy in the world and take him for all he's worth, or say that that's a flaw. I'll take the competitive Tom Brady and let him be peed off at the sideline.
Well, I'm going to let Rich get in, but I just want to say where I'm coming from. I mean, Tom's been playing for us for 12, 13 years or whatever. He's not new. What I'm saying is he's a competitor, but he's also been good with the young players. I'm saying this is not something we really have seen much.
No, and it also might be the new Tom Brady's leadership, knowing that he's on the back nine of his career and that these kids need a little bit more of a stick than a carrot. And maybe that's him trying to evolve as an athlete. Who knows? But,
Could be.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'll say a couple things. One, it kind of falls in line with what I was saying last week when I kind of went off on my tangent about the organization doing
You're not going to do that
him a
again,
disservice.
are you?
I'm
Don't
not,
do that again.
but it's just a funny coincidence that the day after I said that, all of this comes out, and now everyone else is kind of echoing those sentiments. I think the frustration stems from maybe him hitting his boiling point. Look, he took a pay cut in the offseason, and this isn't the first time that he's taken a pay cut.
Just for the record,
and they shunned him.
On the record, he really didn't take a pay cut.
According to his paychecks, he did.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as guaranteed money, he ended up taking more guaranteed
but he
money.
He
He made it more team friendly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he did, but
he made it more team friendly, and
which
how
he
does the
didn't need
team
to do.
repay him? By giving him these rookies in the back end of his career. Now, I think that he knows he was wrong. He admitted right after in the press conference that he needs to handle himself, keep himself more in check. I would have liked him maybe after the Tompkins airing out, when he almost caught it, maybe pat him on the back and say, nice try, kid. We'll get it next time. You ran the right route.
Yep.
We just need to get it a little bit better. Dobson is inexcusable. You need to get in that kid's face, because he's not even looking for the football going over the middle. He's dropping passes
I
that are in his
agree.
hands.
There's some issues there.
I mean, he needs to kind of do it on a personnel by basis type thing.
Yeah.
Give Tompkins a pat on the back, but you might need to get in Dobson's face. But like I said, I think that kind of stems from maybe just a boiling point. He saw all these guys' departure, all of this go on in the offseason. He didn't say a peep about anything, because he never does.
Yep.
And maybe this was just his boiling point.
Yeah, he is human.
And it's happened before. I mean, Tom's competitive. You alluded to Bill O'Brien and what he did with him.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm going to take Tom, as you said, maybe a mulligan. I think he can handle it a little bit better, but I don't think that he's wrong, because I think he's frustrated by the fact that he's out there with these rookies and he's watching guys like Peyton Manning play with superstars all around
His
him,
old toys,
and
yeah.
he has nothing to work with.
That's a good
And
point.
just to give you my final take on it, I had no issue with it either, because I think every once in a while we do. Believe it or not, I've lost my temper a couple of times over
No.
the years.
When?
Long ago, I don't remember.
Long
Since the
ago.
lobotomy, I don't have it. But if you do it every week, it's no good. But maybe is what they needed. And that's why I wanted to touch. I just didn't want to ignore it.
No, it was definitely a big thing as far as team chemistry goes. And hey, let's hope that he's never had that much youth to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Look at all the talented, but youth.
You're right. No, because
and he shouldn't have to be dealing with it.
And to your point, I mean, you were way ahead of this last week. Absolutely.
Are we
this is
gonna
what
hear
it
this
fell
for
into
16
this week,
weeks?
No, but I think that it's fair to say that I think that they kind of did him a disservice. He's not at a point where he wants to be babysitting kids. He wants to be, and it's got to make him so frustrated watching Denver and Peyton do what every quarterback has so many weapons around him, and he has literally nothing.
Yeah.
And no running game at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
You well said.
And I got to say, though, I never ever thought I would hear Tom Brady compared to John Lackey. I like that one.
It's unique.
Yeah.
It is unique.
I mean, it's what he reminded me of during that one game, that one
No, I know.
moment in time.
It's a good example. I just thought of.
Like Tom, I like you.
Okay, you know how today's day and age where everyone's trying to beat each other with the media and there's 4,000 TV stations and everyone has a web program and some jokers even have cable TV shows?
Yeah, local access.
Yeah, there's nothing better than prejudging.
Right.
So the question I have for you gentlemen, and I'd like very quick answers so we can get into Rich's segment and then go into your segment.
Sure.
Is it too soon to call Amendola a bust?
Yeah.
I'll start it off.
Yeah, why'd you start off? Quick answers, right?
Yeah, it's not too soon. We were told he was injury prone. His record said he was injury prone, and he is what his record says, to paraphrase my friend. So no, until he puts 2 or 3 games together in a row, no, he's a bust. Coach?
So no, he's a bust. Okay. I think it's too early to tell, right? I mean, he took a shot, obviously, at halftime, week 1, to get back on the field. And I think that was probably something he wouldn't have done when he was
I didn't think
the Rams.
and again, I'm not saying he ain't tough.
So then we have a game
bust.
on a Thursday night, which doesn't even give him a full week to recover, and he's not playing in that game. And now we're playing a game next this Sunday. So I said, let's see if he runs onto the field Sunday before we throw him
From
on
what
the
I
bus.
understand, it's like 5 weeks before he's going to run on
Like I
the
said,
field.
let's see. That's what you hear, but I
So
still,
you're saying don't prejudge?
No, I think he's going to do what he has to do to get on the field because he knows that that's what the vibe is on the street about him, is that he's weak. He's not tough enough to get on the field. I think he's going to.
And I want to say, I gave up questioning his toughness when he played that game. He was tough.
Yeah.
I'm just saying sometimes you can be tough and it just is what it is. Sometimes you're snake bit. Rich?
I'm going to go right down the middle. I think that anybody that thinks that he's already a bust or anything like that, I don't think they're wrong. But anyone that wants to hold out and give them a benefit of the doubt type thing, I don't think they're wrong either. I think that I heard that he's going to be back soon. He does not need surgery. So that is a plus.
Yeah.
But look, he's a gamer. He's tough. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. I think he is a little snake bitten with the injuries that he's gotten. But with that said, I'd like to still see him in that offense with Gronkowski, with these guys, other rookies further along. I'm going to withhold judgment for right now.
All right.
Okay, I'll buy that. All right. As we had said, this year we're doing the fantasy stuff in the middle of the show so we don't rush them out. So, Rich, you got 2 minutes to tell us what you think.
Well, a lot of times in fantasy, it's the bottom of the points that really make the difference because your stars are going to do what the stars do. It's the defense and the kicker that kind of get you over the hump each week, and some sneaky defensive plays that might be able to get you over the hump this week. Minnesota's defense. They're at home versus Cleveland. The Minnesota is always a tough place to play. Cleveland is on to our old friend Brian Hoyer, who's going to start at quarterback for them. So we can go ahead and assume that there will be a couple of turnovers in that football game, a couple of sacks for sure. Jared Allen is an animal. So Minnesota, they're probably on your waiver wire. Take a look at them.
Good call.
A quarterback that you might want to look at, he's probably on your team, but you probably haven't started him, and you're probably very frustrated if you have started with him, and that's Russell Wilson. He hasn't done much in the first 2 weeks, but he's home against Jacksonville. Don't be afraid to put him in your lineup. Put him in there. Jacksonville is miserable, as we've already alluded to, and I think that game is going to be an absolute blowout. The line is, if you're into that kind of thing, -20.
I saw that.
-20,
Crazy.
which is the biggest line I've ever seen. I think they cover it.
It's a pass
I think they
there.
cover it no problem. So Russell Wilson, get him into your lineup. And Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe is a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's been quiet. He had a touchdown last week, but people are not very high on him because he's only had 4 catches each week, and Alex Smith manages the game. He just does what he needs to do to win. He doesn't put up the big fancy numbers. But Philly's defensive secondary is abysmal. They're terrible. So I think Dwayne Bowe gets himself a big game, 100 yards and a touchdown this week. And a running back that you might want to look at, James Starks. I know the waiver wire was today. A lot of people probably already picked him up. Hot pickup. Eddie Lacy has already been ruled out for the Green Bay Packers.
So that'll be good.
Starks had over 100 yards last week, so he might be worth, he's definitely worth a pickup. And Bernard Pierce, if he's on your waiver wire, should be on a roster somewhere, but if someone got a little discouraged with him and dropped him after week 1, Ray Rice probably won't play, so Bernard Pierce becomes a must pick up and play.
Great picks, Rich. Great picks.
Okay, I just want to interrupt quickly, Coach. I just got a text from Coach Belichick,
Uh-oh.
and he had a little message for you, my friend.
Oh, yeah, what did he say?
He said, "What goes on at Ken's Steakhouse stays at Ken's Steakhouse."
Jesus, I'm in trouble now.
Well, he should get a private booth then.
He
People
shouldn't
can't
talk
overhear
so loud
him, you know?
when he's drinking Navy grog.
I'm just telling you
Like
what the
no
man
tomorrow. The man was swilling booze. But anyway, I respect him for that.
said. Coach, take us away with the
All
Fab
right.
Four.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how.
We only got
what do we
5.5
minutes. We can do
minutes
this, no problem. I don't know how Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles walk around with these damn things, because I can't see nothing. So there we go. All right. So Fab Four this week, fellas. Let's start with Green Bay at Cincinnati. Cincinnati getting 2 at home. And Dave, I'm going to start with you. Green Bay coming up a strong win.
Oh, Green Bay to me. It's not 2 points.
2 points. That's all I got to cover.
Green Bay.
Dave likes Green Bay.
I think that's, I can echo that. Green Bay, they looked dynamite last week. Aaron Rodgers is the man. I think they
He
do
is. This could be his Tom Brady year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he already had one, but he could be his second one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love Cincinnati in this game, guys.
Could you elaborate?
I'm just going to say this about that. I have Dolphin, and he's done me so far so good. The last game, he could have had more points, actually, get some taken off the board. But I like Cincinnati at home. I think they're coming home. I think their defense is really a lot better than people give me. And I think Green Bay is going to be a little bit full of themselves after that big win. So,
Best defensive front nobody talks about.
absolutely,
Cincinnati.
Rich. Absolutely. Okay, next game, since we run a little bicycle mission here. Atlanta at the Fish. The Fish giving a 1.5. Rich, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. What do you think about that?
This one's a tough one. Atlanta lost some key pieces to their defense this week. Corey Borman and Witherspoon is their best defensive player, both out indefinitely. I'm going to go with the Fish. The Fish, it's their first home game. They won the first 2 on the road. It kills me to say. It absolutely kills me to have to go with the Fish. But I think Tannehill's looked better than I thought. He looks further along. And their defense. I love Cameron Wake. I love what he can do. He's an absolute force on the defensive front. I think the Fish got this.
Okay, Dave, what do you think?
Dolphins are a fraud. Atlanta by 10.
Attaboy. I'm going to go with Dave on this one because I just hate the Dolphins.
Me
man.
too.
But I know that shouldn't play, but Atlanta's a real deal. I think we end up playing them.
It killed me to pick the Jets last
game,
week.
and they're playing in February this year. But I know it did, and but it still got you the win. So, okay, then the next game is Detroit at Washington. We're talking about Washington having a little strange start this year with RG3. In Detroit, again, the enigma that is Detroit, and Donna and Sue still racking up record fines, man. What they fine him $100,000 for the stomp, or then another stomp or kick that he did.
He probably still hasn't gotten the message.
No, he's an idiot. Again, Washington at home, it's a 1.5 either way. It's a field goal game. I'm going to go with the Skins at home.
Washington by 10.
Dave likes
It's all going to come together.
Everybody by 10.
It's going to come. No, these two. It's what it is. You're going to see RG3 is going to break out. And
this is the game.
They're at home in Washington, right?
Yep. Yeah, RFK.
Yeah, big win.
Yeah, I think this one's an absolute shootout. Take the over for sure. I'm going to make 2 predictions. 1, I think Washington covers. 2, Jim Schwartz will not make it through the season.
Oh, as
The
far
head
as
coach
the
of
head
Detroit.
coach, yeah.
And he shouldn't.
He shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Exactly.
I don't even know why they bring him back after his
And
complete.
Reggie Bush might not
team
play,
runs all over
and that's another factor for them.
Okay.
I like the over on that. That's a good play. All right, guys, and the last one's the big one, Tampa Bay at the Pats. Dave, why don't we start with you in this one? Pats. By the way, Pats are favored by 7.5.
That's a tough one.
Yep. You saw these
I mean,
guys
it's
in
not
preseason.
tough because I will never pick against the Pats. I'll go on public record saying that. With that being said, I guess there's nothing more for me to say.
I guess you've already said
The Pats!
It'll be the Fab 3 with Dave anytime I put a Pats game in. So, minus 7.5. What do you think?
I've been doing this show with you
I mean,
10 years, and you've never picked against the Pats either.
But I might someday.
This is 2 weeks in a row. I said last week I thought the Patriots would win, but 12.5 was just way too many points.
Yep.
Took the Jets. I'm going to take Tampa. I think the Patriots win, but they don't win by 7.5. This game's going to be close. Look, Tampa should be 2-0 instead of 0-2.
Right.
One bonehead play against the Jets. Last week, they should have won that game against New Orleans. Couple iffy calls down the stretch. They led it 14-13, took a last-second field goal drive. They could very well be 2-0.
Well, they're getting ready to mutiny over there, ain't they?
They're supposedly, but I mean, what team isn't that's 0-2? You're going to hear a bunch of negative stuff, this and that. And again, if they were 2-0, it'd be all sunshines and oranges down there in Tampa Bay. No pun intended. So I'm going to go Tampa this game. Don't forget, these two teams practiced against each other for a whole week. They know each other very well, so that's a big spread for two teams with familiarity.
I think there might be a payback for the guy that almost injured Brady.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, almost. Yeah, he ended up being out the next day, but. You know what? Here it is. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on this one. Tampa Bay is 7.5. Okay. So you know what happened? It just happened. There. What do you think about that, buddy? That's it. He's out of here.
He's done.
He's done. He's
Final straw.
Final straw.
Final straw.
It took 6 years. I never walked out of a town council meeting, and I'll be done. I'm
So
walking
it's
out
not
of
going to
my own
happen.
show.
Yeah. All right.
And the other scary thing with this matchup, real quickly, is Darrelle Revis is going to shut down half the field. I mean, these receivers and Brady aren't even on the same page, let alone when you can't use half the field. Goldson is a headhunter out there. He will play. He had his suspension overturned, so he will play.
The other one won't.
And Tampa's better than people think.
Yep. Yeah, I call for a close game. I still like the Pats winning.
Yeah, me 23-20 Pats.
Close game. I'll take that.
Okay, and I got 27 seconds left.
Go, man. Merrimack
Okay,
Locks.
Merrimack Locks, September 28th at Watson Park. The head musical act will be
The
Shots.
The Shots.
Taking them and giving
with
them.
Bob Wallace as the bassist. And we'll be honoring Corporal Tim Gibson, who gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country and the people of Merrimack. We'll also be honoring Arthur Pete Gagnon, who spent basically 40 years planning this town to where it's a vibrant community. And we'll have fireworks, and let's not forget the Clydesdales will be there at 4 o'clock.
The full train of Clydesdales. First time in, 40 years?
Yep.
And we're going to go with 40 this week.
We'll go with 40.
40 years. Be there, everybody. Next Saturday, the 28th.
28th.
Go
Merrimack
Pats.
Rocks.
See you next week.